Every patron in that bar knew for sure that that was my first time there. If they'd given me more than half a look, they'd have probably worked out that I'd been in the zone less than an hour. The grime on my hazard suit was clearly applied by hand. If they had anything to say, they kept it to themselves. A well-tested general rule for keeping a boat full of stalkers from pulling triggers. Only the barman dared open his mouth, and that was from behind a floor-to-ceiling metal cage and an inch of bulletproof armor. He tapped his head while looking at me. I worked out he wanted me to take my mask off. Since he was unmasked also, I figured it was safe enough. As I removed it, he poured something into a cut-in-half plastic bottle and pushed it through the cage. Water, boiled sterile, but hard to call clean. "You guys go to that side," he said, pointing to the far side of the hold. No one else was there. "I'm looking for information," I told him, placing my hands on the bar. He didn't appear happy with that, and I awkwardly folded my arms instead. "There's no information in the zone, friend. Only riches and bullets. You can't have one without the other. Now, as I said, the new guys go to that side." It seemed that was the end of the conversation. I took his offer and walked over to the edge of the hold. There was a high wooden table that I used to check over my gear, same as it was that morning. Then I was stuck just standing there, feeling it was too soon to leave and return to my mission. Kept to myself, and everyone else returned the favor. Then, the bulkhead door squealed open. Everyone too sober to forget the zone jumped a little. When I saw the man who entered, I thought headquarters had sent me backup, as if headquarters knew where I was. This man was wreathed in a shell of black rubber and spindly metal, an exoskeleton of sorts. The contraption hissed and whined quietly as he stamped over to the bar. On his back was an enormous bag, hooked to the skeleton's bars. He took it off, and I noticed everyone's head turn just slightly to catch a sideways glimpse. The man felt their gaze and stopped. He didn't open the bag until the barman commanded a stripy young barnacle with a guitar to get up and play. As if the sound of it concealed his actions, the man with the bag opened the lid and placed bundled up objects on the bar. The barman was quick to transfer them out of sight. He could tell I was watching, and said something I couldn't hear to the bag man. The rubbery man seemed unaffected and carried on emptying the bag. Perhaps 7 or 8 parcels were produced before he carefully clipped the lid closed again. Precisely as he finished this action, the barman pushed 3 cans and a bottle through the gap in the cage. The rubbery man took them, grunted something, and turned to me. Within 4 steps he was at my table. I imagine he was looking at me, but the yellowing tint of his mask was too opaque to see him inside. He placed the 3 cans he had received on the table, 1 in front of me and 2 opposite. The bottle stayed in his hand. He sat down. As he sat down facing me, the clattering and squealing of his exoskeleton peaked. "Why did they send you?" his muffled voice asked. He sounded uninterested, but gestured impatiently when I didn't respond at first. "I had no money, so I came here," I said, the standard story. The man removed his mask to reveal a scarred, square face. "Does the army not pay you enough?" he said. As I feared, my secret had not made it past first contact with the stalkers. "It's over with them," I said. This was the correct answer, it seemed. The man pointed at the can he had given me. I had nothing to open it with, which he realized after he'd finished eating from his first can. Its contents were like animal feed, but produced a smell mercifully sweet. The man took my can and opened it with a many-headed tool chained to his chest. With the same tool he dug out a clump of the brown, flaky filling before passing the rest back to me. "Yesterday I killed something that looks just like you," he said. I wasn't sure how to respond. "There was no other way," he eventually added. He finished up his second can and immediately got to work on the bottle, vodka with a clean label. "How far have you gone in?" I asked him. "Too far," he said. "You want to go in? To find the wish granter?" "That's a fairy tale." "People have found it before." "You want to know how I know that, rookie?" "As I said, it's a fairy tale." The man opened his bag with the same care as before, then brought out another bundle. Even after it was rested on the table, the candle at the far end flickered as if shook from below. The man unfolded the linen wrapping until I was looking at a plastic container with a makeshift metal lid held closed with hooks and cords. The container glowed, and shadows on the inside revealed constant motion. The other barflies were tipping their eyes in our direction. The man then placed his hand on the container, blocking my view of it partially. The motion inside intensified greatly. It was like tendrils of something inside were trying to wrap around his fingers. They pushed against the plastic, their glow brightening, the distance from one side to the other diminishing. After a moment, it was like they had burrowed through. They started licking the man's fingers and palm, at which he winced. There was a sound like television static coming from all around. I realized afterwards it was the rapid clicking of not just my Geiger counter, but everyone's all at once. After another second, he calmly withdrew his hand, and the activity in the pot subsided. The clicks echoed away into the ship's hull. "You're from the army. You want to know why your comrades could not pierce the zone. They did not tell you everything they know. They hope you will die before you complete your mission. Same as any stalker," he said. Then he carefully packaged his ghostly container away. At the time I didn't know the purpose of this display, and I didn't imagine that the magic trick and his solid estimate of my mission were in any way related. But clearly he had precisely the kind of insider intelligence I was meant to be finding. He appeared to be preparing to leave, so I quickly asked, "If the wish granter is real, how do I find it?" He first looked about at the other patrons, who feigned disinterest. Then he pointed at the pistol holstered under my arm. "Fire that into the air towards the plant. Where your bullet lands, it's safe to go. If you want to go further than that, you should have brought a bigger gun. Maybe the wish granter will help you once you fall." He stamped out with a raised hand to the barman. The door squealed again, but everyone was braced for it. It slammed shut. The guitar player let out a long breath before slumping back against the wall, his instrument silent. I realized my heart was racing and tried to calm down. I let out a sigh that seemed to startle everyone else just as much as the door's shriek. From the looks I got, I judged it was time to go. The smell of the man's expensive vodka was still in the air just outside the bulkhead door. It was a warm afternoon. At the threshold of the ruined ship, the comings and goings of the forbidden swamp were concealed from you, bringing a sense of both peace and foreboding, the very same aura of the rubbery stalker with whom I shared my first meal in the zone. I almost fired my pistol into the air as he had suggested, but the decked-out doorman stepped to me the moment my hand touched the holster. His accented barks snapped me back to reality, and I quickly jumped down into the mud. With little to go on, I began my mission in earnest. This was no fairy tale, I told myself. I was right. The zone was much worse than that.